Maya Brooks discovered the man she was falling for was a billionaire on the same day. She found out her brother had been lying to her for 6 months, and both revelations shattered her in ways she didn't know were possible. The morning started like every morning for the past 4 months. 5:40 a.m. The bell above the bakery door chimed, and Ethan walked in. Same quiet smile, same simple order, black coffee, plain croissant. Same way of looking at her like she was the most interesting person in Brooklyn, even though she was just a baker with flour in her hair and exhaustion in her eyes. "Morning, Maya," he said, and the sound of her name in his voice still made her heart do something stupid. "Morning." She poured his coffee, hands steady despite the fact that she'd been up since 3 a.m. baking, and before that had been at the hospital with her brother until midnight. "Croissant." "Please." He leaned against the counter studying her. "Rough night." "Aren't they all?" She tried to smile, but it cracked at the edges. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then he did what he always did, didn't push, didn't pry, just saw her. "You know what I think." "What?" "I think you're the strongest person I've ever met, and I think you deserve someone to tell you it's okay to not be strong all the time." The words hit her like a punch to the chest, because no one had said that to her. Not since her parents died 3 years ago and she'd become responsible for her 17-year-old brother's entire life. Maya's eyes burned. "Thank you." Ethan paid, left his usual generous tip and walked to the door, but he paused, turned back. "Maya." "Yeah. Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone." Then he was gone. And Maya stood there, falling a little more in love with a man she barely knew. But what she didn't know, what she wouldn't discover until that afternoon, was that nothing about Ethan was what it seemed. And the truth would destroy the fragile hope she'd been building on their 5:40 a.m. conversations. At 2 p.m., Maya's world started crumbling. She was in the back room prepping tomorrow's dough when her phone rang. The hospital. Her brother, Jamie, had been in a car accident. Maya's hands went numb. She was at the hospital in 15 minutes, heart hammering, mind spinning with worst-case scenarios. But when she burst into Jamie's room, he was sitting up, bruised but alive, talking to a doctor about discharge papers. "Jamie," she grabbed him. "What happened? Are you okay?" "I'm fine, minor stuff, car totaled though." He wouldn't meet her eyes. "What were you doing driving? You don't have a car." Silence. "Jamie." "It was borrowed." "From who?" More silence. And that's when the doctor cleared his throat. "Miss Brooks, there's something you should know. Your brother was driving a 2024 Mercedes, registered to a Marcus Chen, and according to the police report, your brother has been working as a driver for Mr. Chen's company for the past 6 months." Maya's world tilted. "What?" Jamie finally looked at her, guilty, ashamed. "I dropped out of school, Maya, 4 months ago. I've been working, making money. I was going to tell you, but—" "You dropped out." Her voice was hollow. "I've been working 70-hour weeks to pay your tuition and you dropped out. I didn't want you to sacrifice everything for me. So you lied instead." She stepped back. "For 6 months, while I worked myself to death." "Maya." But she was already leaving. Couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The person she'd been protecting, the reason she'd given up her own dreams, he'd been lying to her face for half a year. She made it outside before the tears came. And that's when she saw him. Ethan, getting out of a sleek black car across the street, talking on his phone, wearing a suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. But it wasn't the suit that stopped her. It was the billboard behind him, massive, impossible to miss. Hale Enterprises, building tomorrow's Brooklyn. And right in the center, Ethan's face. Ethan Hale, CEO, billionaire real estate developer. The man who'd been coming to her bakery for 4 months. Who listened to her talk about struggling to make rent. Who'd let her believe he was just a regular customer. who'd lied to her just like Jamie had. Maya's breath caught, because suddenly everything made sense. The generous tips, the way he'd asked about the bakery's lease, the coincidence that the corporate buyout threatening her shop had mysteriously stalled 2 weeks after she'd mentioned it to him. He'd been helping her, anonymously, without telling her, without trusting her with the truth. Ethan looked up, saw her, and his expression shifted from surprise to dread to something that looked like heartbreak. He started toward her. Maya ran. She didn't go back to the bakery, couldn't face the place that suddenly felt like a monument to her stupidity. Instead, she walked for hours through Brooklyn, mind spinning, heart breaking. 2 betrayals in one day, her brother and Ethan, the 2 people she'd trusted most. Both had lied. Both had decided she couldn't handle the truth. When her phone buzzed, she ignored it. 17 texts from Jamie, 8 from Ethan. She deleted them without reading. At 11 p.m., Maya finally went home. Her tiny apartment felt emptier than usual. She made tea she didn't drink, sat on her couch, stared at nothing. The knock came at midnight. She knew who it was before she opened the door. Ethan stood in her hallway, still in that expensive suit, looking more uncertain than she'd ever seen him. Maya, don't, her voice was flat, just don't. Please let me explain. Explain what? That you're a billionaire who's been pretending to be a normal customer, that you've been helping me without telling me, that you lied. I never lied. Omission is still lying, Ethan. She crossed her arms. Or should I call you Mr. Hale? He flinched. I'm still the same person. No, you're not. The person I knew was honest, real. The person standing in front of me is a stranger who owns half of Brooklyn and decided I couldn't handle knowing that. That's not why. Then why? She demanded. Why hide it? Why let me fall for someone who doesn't exist? Because he does exist, Ethan's voice cracked. The man who comes to your bakery every morning, that's me. The real me, not the CEO, not the billionaire, just me. But they're the same person, Ethan. You can't separate them. I wanted to, just for a little while. I wanted someone to see me without seeing the money first. His eyes were desperate. Do you know how rare that is? How exhausting it is to never know if people like you or your net worth. So you tested me, made me the experiment. No, he stopped, ran a hand through his hair. I fell in love with you, Maya, and I was terrified that if you knew it would change everything, that you'd see me differently. Or worse, that you'd think I was trying to buy you. The words hit like lightning. You love me. Yes, I love the way you talk about your brother even though he drives you crazy. I love how you know every regular's order by heart. I love that you work yourself to exhaustion for people you care about. His voice softened. I love that you saw me, the real me, not what I own, not what I can do, just who I am at 5:40 in the morning when no one's watching. Maya's throat burned, but you didn't trust me with the truth. I was wrong, I know that now. I should have told you sooner, should have trusted that what we had was real enough to survive it. He stepped closer. But I'm telling you now, all of it. I'm Ethan Hale. I own Hale Enterprises. I'm worth more money than I'll ever spend, and none of it matters compared to losing you. Ethan. I helped with the bakery because I couldn't stand watching you struggle, but I did it quietly because I didn't want credit. I just wanted you to have a chance. He pulled out his phone, showed her emails, contracts, connections he'd made. Everything I did was to help, not to control, not to obligate you, just to help. Maya looked at the evidence, saw the truth of it, the care in every detail, and felt her anger cracking. I found out about Jamie today, she said quietly. He's been lying to me for 6 months, dropped out of school. Everything I've been sacrificing, he threw it away and didn't tell me. Ethan's expression softened. I'm sorry. So today I learned that the 2 people I care most about both decided I couldn't handle the truth. Both lied. Both thought they knew better. She looked at him. How am I supposed to trust either of you now? You probably can't, not right away, but Maya, he moved closer. I'll spend every day earning it back. I'll show you who I am, all of me. The parts I'm proud of and the parts I'm not. The success and the loneliness, all of it. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we'd love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button. Why should I believe you? Because I'm still going to show up at 5:40 a.m., still going to order black coffee and a croissant, still going to listen when you talk and see you when you hurt. The only difference is now you know why. His voice dropped. I don't want to love you quietly anymore, Maya. I want to love you loudly, honestly, with everything I am. Maya's eyes burned with tears. I don't know if I can do this. Then don't, not yet. Just let me prove it. Let me show you that the man you fell for is real, that the money doesn't change who I am when I'm with you. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. But trust, once broken, didn't just heal because someone asked nicely. I need time, she said. Ethan nodded. How much time? I don't know. Okay, he stepped back. I'll wait as long as it takes. He turned to leave, but paused at the door. For what it's worth, you're right to be angry at me and at Jamie, but Maya, he looked back. Don't let our mistakes make you afraid to trust again. You deserve people who show up, who tell the truth, who love you the way you deserve to be loved. Then he was gone. And Maya stood alone in her apartment, heart breaking, mind racing, wondering if she just made the biggest mistake of her life. The next morning, Maya woke up to find an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a letter, handwritten. Maya asterisk. I'm not going to come to the bakery anymore. Not because I don't want to, but because I don't want you to feel pressured. You need space, and I'm going to give it to you. But I want you to know something. Every morning for the past 4 months, coming to see you has been the best part of my day. Not because of the coffee or the croissants, but because you made me feel normal, human, seen. I'm sorry I didn't trust you with the truth. I'm sorry I let you fall for someone incomplete. And I'm sorry that my fear of losing you made me lose you anyway. If you decide you never want to see me again, I'll understand. But if you ever want to talk, really talk about everything, I'll be here. Waiting. Ethan. Maya read it 3 times, cried twice, and then did something she hadn't done in 3 years. She closed the bakery for the day and went to see Jamie. Her brother looked worse than he had at the hospital, bruised, guilty, small. I'm sorry, he said before she could speak. I know I screwed up. I know I lied. I couldn't watch you kill yourself for me anymore. So you made me do it for nothing. I made a stupid choice. I thought if I could make money, prove I could take care of myself, you'd finally live your own life. His voice cracked, but I just made everything worse. Maya sat beside him. You're right, you did make it worse, because for 6 months I thought I was helping you. I thought my sacrifices mattered, and finding out they did, that destroyed me, Jamie. I know. But, she took his hand, I also sacrificed because I love you, and that doesn't change just because you made a mistake. It just means we need to figure out how to communicate better, how to trust each other enough to tell the hard truths. Jamie's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway, she smiled sadly. Just promise me something. Anything. No more lies, even when you think they're protecting me, especially then. I promise. They talked for hours, about school, about work, about the future. It wasn't perfect. Trust would take time to rebuild, but it was a start. And as Maya left, she realized something. If she could forgive Jamie, could she forgive Ethan? 3 weeks passed. Maya didn't contact Ethan, but she thought about him constantly, about his letter, about his confession, about the way he'd loved her quietly for 4 months. The bakery survived. thanks in part to the connections Ethan had made. Maya threw herself into work, into rebuilding her relationship with Jamie, into figuring out who she was beyond the girl who sacrificed everything. But every morning at 5:40, she looked at the door, waiting for someone who didn't come. On day 22, Maya made a decision. She closed the bakery early, took the subway to Manhattan, and walked into the gleaming tower that housed Hale Enterprises. The receptionist looked skeptical. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but tell him Maya Brooks is here." 5 minutes later, Ethan appeared in the lobby. He looked tired, thinner, like he hadn't been sleeping. But when he saw her, his entire expression transformed. Hope, raw and desperate. "Maya." "Hi." They stared at each other. Then Ethan said, "Do you want to get coffee?" "Not here, somewhere quiet." They ended up in a small park, sitting on a bench, paper cups of terrible coffee between them. Maya spoke first. "I've been thinking about what you said, about loving me quietly, about wanting to love me loudly." "Maya." "Let me finish." She took a breath. "For 3 weeks I've been angry, at you, at Jamie, at everyone who lied, but I realized something. You weren't lying to hurt me. You were lying to protect something fragile, and I get that now." "That doesn't make it right." "No, but it makes it human." She turned to face him. "I talked to Jamie. We're working on rebuilding trust. It's hard, it's slow, but we're doing it because we love each other." Ethan's jaw tightened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want to try, with you, but I need complete honesty about who you are, what your life looks like, what being with you would mean." "Okay." He set down his coffee. "I'm Ethan Hale. I built my company from nothing after my parents died and left me with debts I spent 5 years paying off. I work 80-hour weeks. I'm lonely most of the time. I have more money than I know what to do with, and it makes dating impossible because I never know who's real." "Keep going." "I come to your bakery because it's the only place I feel normal, because you treat me like a person, not a portfolio, because when I'm with you, I remember who I was before the money." His voice dropped. "I love you, Maya. I love your strength and your kindness and the way you laugh at terrible jokes. I love that you put everyone else first even though you deserve to be first. And I want to spend the rest of my life making sure you know how extraordinary you are." Maya's eyes burned. "I love you too. I have since the day you left that note telling me I didn't have to be strong all the time." "Then why are you crying?" "Because I'm scared, of getting hurt, of not being enough, of your world swallowing mine." Ethan took her hands. "I can't promise you won't get hurt. Relationships are messy, but I can promise I'll be honest, always, even when it's hard, especially then." "What about your world? The galas and the meetings and the wealth?" "That's just noise. You're the signal." He pulled her closer. "I don't need you to fit my world, Maya. I want to build a new one with you, something real." "What does that look like?" "I don't know, but I want to find out together." He smiled. "Starting with terrible coffee at 5:40 a.m. Maya laughed through her tears. "You really miss the bakery." "I miss you. The bakery's just where I found you." She kissed him then, soft, sure, full of all the words they'd been too afraid to say. When they pulled apart, Ethan pressed his forehead to hers. "So what now?" "Now we take it slow, we build trust, we figure out how to love each other loudly." She smiled. "And you start coming back to the bakery, because 5:40 a.m. isn't the same without you." "Deal." They stayed in that park until sunset, talking, planning, building something real from the wreckage of secrets and lies. And as they walked back through Brooklyn, hand in hand, Maya realized, love didn't need to be loud to be real, but it did need to be honest. 6 months later, Ethan proposed in the bakery. Not at some fancy restaurant, not with photographers or fanfare. Just them at 5:40 a.m. with black coffee and croissants and the morning light streaming through the windows. "Marry me," he said, "not because I'm rich, not because I can give you everything, but because I love you, because you make me better, because I want to spend every 5:40 a.m. for the rest of my life right here with you." Maya looked at him, this man who'd loved her quietly until she was ready to be loved loudly, who'd given her space to heal, who showed up every single day with nothing but honesty. "Yes," she said. They were married 3 months later, small ceremony. Jamie walked her down the aisle, the bakery staff catered. It was perfect in its simplicity. And every morning, without fail, Ethan still showed up at 5:40 a.m. Same order, same quiet smile, same way of seeing her. Because the richest love wasn't the one that dazzled. It was the one that showed up consistently, even when no one was watching. It was the one that chose truth over comfort. It was the one that loved quietly until it was safe to love loudly. And Maya and Ethan had both. For the rest of their lives. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I truly appreciate you for spending your time here. It means a lot more than you know. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I really want to hear from you. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. Your support helps the channel grow and brings more stories like this your way. Thank you for being here. More amazing stories are coming, don't miss them.